Twitter and said, "Oh, that he was just having wisdom teeth taken out." People might have assumed that, but he was coy about what was ailing him. And then I saw you had video of him actually out there in practice. What's the latest with Darius Geis? And it's one of the things that the fact that you weren't able to see practice all offseason, you have no idea how long he was actually out.
Right. He didn't practice in any of the availabilities we had last week, which were 3 days. Those were the first 3 days we were able to be in. We had no eyewitness account of practice the first 3 weeks. Darius Geis he's posted a handful of times on Twitter referencing his wisdom teeth being taken out, and another LSU reporter tweeted a similar video that I had yesterday, and Darius Geis actually retweeted that one and said something like, "Looks good to me," almost to indicate he's looking good and feeling good. Ed Orgeron said yesterday that he kind of asked himself a couple of rhetorical questions. Do I think Darius Geis will play? Yes. Can I say that with 100% certainty? No. So I'm not quite sure why. I feel like he's being a little coy, knowing that Geis didn't practice last week, and maybe there is some sort of minor injury, as Orgeron put it a couple weeks ago, that occurred during the scrimmage. But the common thought seems to be that it had more to do with wisdom teeth or other dental matters that maybe had him sidelined last week. And he said he was being eased into practice this week. Yesterday they had a pretty light workout, no pads, no helmets, just kind of the skin-tight athletic sleeveless shirts and sort of running around. And so we'll be in for practice today, 10 or 15 minutes, if that. And so maybe we'll get another sense of how Darius Geis is moving around.
Chris, what's your take on Brigham Young's opener? I mean, you look at the score, 20-6, I think it was, against Portland State. Doesn't inspire a lot of confidence if you're a Brigham Young fan that they're going to come down here and beat LSU. But I'm a little leery sometimes of reading into that. These openers, sometimes you're kind of getting the rust knocked off. And sometimes when you know you've got an easy opponent like Brigham Young had, and they've got a tough one in week 2, sometimes they hold stuff back purposely just because they're really preparing for the big game against LSU. What's your read on that game?
I kind of get the same sense as well, and Ed Orgeron brought that up yesterday. I thought he had some interesting comments where he said that he's heard through, coaching friends, the grapevine, that they've been scouting LSU hard all through the summer, really kind of game planning for them to face LSU ahead of Portland State. Not to say that they were necessarily looking ahead, but certainly when you have LSU on your schedule right after an FCS opponent to open the season, it seems like it would be wise for them to really look all they can into how they can game plan against LSU with the defense that LSU typically has, but then also there's this mystery of what's the offense going to be. I mean, we all know Darius Geis, assuming he's healthy and he's playing and 100% or close to it, we all know he's the centerpiece of the offense, but I don't think anybody observing, anybody knows where's he going to line up from play to play, what kind of motions are they going to have, what are they going to do with the receivers, who's going to be running those jet sweeps that Matt Canada is kind of known for, and what other wrinkles might be in there. And that's kind of the intriguing part of this game, and the thing I'm most looking forward to is really seeing how this offense operates. And BYU, I'm sure, can look back at all the Pitt film and all the Wisconsin and NC State film that they want, but the way Matt Canada kind of tailors his offense to the players he has, I don't think anybody can confidently say exactly what this offense will be, especially since we don't even know that the receivers are not very experienced. We don't quite know their skills yet. We know about DJ Chark. There's been a lot of positive talk about Russell Gage. But beyond that, a lot of unproven players, how they can use their tight ends, what they can do with this F-back position that they have that's supposed to be the guy that can kind of move around to any spot on the field and kind of be either a blocker or be in there for shuffle passes and things like that. So there's going to be quite a variety of players, I think, that we're going to see as observers, fans, reporters, whatever it is, that BYU is just going to have to be ready for anything.
Chris, one more and we'll let you run. Chris Dave, NOLA.com, and the Times-Picayune covers the LSU Tigers. You can follow him on Twitter at CMDave. Chris, what maybe came out of Ed Orgeron's presser yesterday? He rattled off basically the depth chart, who was starting, who was doing this. I mean, down to like the holder. I mean, he went through everything. But what are some of the one or two tidbits that you took away that kind of maybe took you back or was interesting from Coach O?
Yeah, I'll give Orgeron some credit all through the preseason. He's been rattling off the depth chart. It's been really no mystery what it is, assuming he's telling us the absolute truth. But the thing that stood out was right guard. There's going to be a true freshman starter there. No matter who it is, it's either Ed Ingram or Sadiq Charles. Of course, at the starter camp, Maya Tahuma was expected to be the starting right guard there, a junior, the returning starter. And he transferred out after the indefinite suspension, and that kind of caused LSU to need a freshman to step into that position. And then they had those early camp injuries to the other returning starters. So that first scrimmage, you had 4 freshmen on the first-team offensive line. And that's where Ed Ingram and Sadiq Charles, by all accounts of the Orgeron and the older teammates, saying that those 2 guys really showed something. They're not afraid to be physical. They might make some freshman mistakes, but that stood out just because of they've only been here since the summer, and we also thought Lloyd Cushenberry would be the likely starter in that position after Tahuma left, but Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be the backup center, and I kind of think LSU wants to make sure that they have a healthy backup center. They don't want to put him at any risk for getting hurt. He plays right guard and he gets hurt, well, then I don't know who I think KJ Malone and Kobe Weathersby, I think they snap sometimes, but they need them on other spots of the line. That kind of stood out.
Well, Chris Dabe, alter your travel plans. You've known New Orleans once or twice in your life, so I'm pretty sure you know how to get down here. But Chris, appreciate the time. I know you're busy, and look, LSU BYU coming to the Dome. Take care, bud.
Hey, thanks.
All right, Chris Dabe, LSU beat writer for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, right here on the show. Coming up next, we'll head up to BYU country, get their perspective on the moved game. What do they expect from LSU? And as Jeff alluded to, was that the real BYU playing against Portland State? We'll talk with Jay Drew from the Salt Lake Tribune, covers BYU for that media company. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating Weather Desk.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. A flash flood watch in effect all the way through Thursday. Today, everybody gets rain, heavy at times, could see some flooding. So remember, never drive through areas that you don't know the depth of the water. Could be dangerous and even deadly. Now for today, with those heavy storms, highs only in the low 80s. Tonight, more spotty storms around at 77. Tomorrow, Wednesday, an 80% chance of rain. Could see some more heavy downpours, flooding possible at 84. Finally, by Thursday, Harvey begins to kick northeastward as we do begin to dry out for late week and the weekend. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating, together with Mike Rowe. 1 Hour encourages you to choose licensed technicians to service your home. Call 1 Hour today. 855-1-HOUR. That's 855-1-HOUR.
Bet you didn't know this. Broadcast radio reaches more people in America than TV. Yeah, AM/FM radio. The radio that's free in your car, your kitchen, your office. Broadcast radio reaches more adults, teens, and millennials. More of everyone. More shoppers. Broadcast radio reaches 93% of Americans every week. That's bigger than TV, Facebook, and Google. If you're a marketer who needs to reach new fans, visit iHeartMedia.com for the one place everyone is listening. AM/FM radio.
What's worse than a big loss from your favorite team? A big loss from your game time food while you watch your favorite team lose. It's time to bench the gas and charcoal and even your kitchen oven. and sub in a Traeger grill. Big wood-fired flavor in everything you grill. Smoke, bake, roast, braise, barbecue. Thanks to the 6-in-1 versatility. From classic wings and brats, jalapeno poppers, even a pan of gooey chocolate chip cookies. Traeger can handle all of it. Tailgating out in the parking lot this season, Traeger has portable styles that you can take with you for incredible wood-fired food on the go. You want a larger model for cheering on the home team from home? You can find the perfect fit at a Traeger dealer near you. Visit TraegerGrills.com/dealers to find the one nearest you. If you already have a grill but want to lock down your game time menu, go to TraegerGrills.com/recipes. They have hundreds of wood-fired options fit for any fan that will instantly crown you barbecue king or queen of the lot. That's TraegerGrills.com. A great passing game starts with great protection up front, and the same goes for your car. If you want to keep your car in the game and running at its best, you've got to keep your engine protected. That's why AutoZone has great deals on Valvoline conventional motor oil and an STP filter. Changing your oil helps lubricate parts from friction and wear while protecting engine surfaces from rust and corrosion. And when you do it yourself, you're protecting not only your car's engine, but also you're protecting your wallet as well. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Can you mow a yard, clean a house, haul off some junk? Then you can make extra money with the Tackle app. Tackle is an amazing new app that connects people who can perform small jobs with customers who need them done. Signing up is easy, so become a Tackle provider today. Go to Tackle.com to join. That's TAKL.com. As a Tackle provider, you can be your own boss, set your own hours, and make great money. Go to TAKL.com today.
Any of you guys ever shop for a car online? I know Paulie has.
Absolutely, love to.
You'd think with all the websites it'd be easy to get the real price on a car that's actually sitting on the dealership lot, but with terms like sticker, invoice, rebates, things can get confusing pretty fast. And this is what I learned today. With TrueCar, you don't have to worry about these things. You configure the car you want, and you'll see what others paid for it. Get offers from TrueCar's certified dealers on actual inventory. Check out TrueCar and enjoy a more confident car buying experience.
Some features not available in all states.
Our All-Stars bring you the inside knowledge for your home teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Dunc and Holder. Just heard from LSU beat writer, our colleague from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, Chris Dabe. Let's head up to BYU country. Jay Drew covers BYU football and basketball for the Salt Lake Tribune. You can follow him on Twitter at DrewJ. And Jay, unexpectedly had to change your travel plans along with the BYU football team. How much input do you think maybe BYU had? I know both sides, at least I know from the LSU side, they were saying, look, this is ESPN's game, and this is up to NRG Stadium. But how much input do you think BYU had in this decision to move the game from Houston to New Orleans?
Very little, to be honest with you. I don't think they, like you said, it was ESPN's game and the Advocare Texas kickoffs game. So they had, I think, very little. My sources have told me that BYU really wanted the game in Dallas. They, if they had their druthers, it wouldn't have been put in New Orleans for a variety of reasons. But obviously that didn't happen. So, but yeah, I think they had very little input as to where the game was going to be played.
Jay, I would assume one of the reasons would be that this is no longer a neutral site game. I mean, this is going to be a home game basically for LSU. Is that one of the reasons why they wouldn't want to come down here?
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest reason. I mean, it was still going to be a LSU, pro LSU crowd in Houston, I think. But I think BYU had sold over 10,000 tickets there. I'll be really interested to see how many BYU fans show up in New Orleans. I would guess it'd be probably half that. So yeah, it's that was one of the reasons. Obviously, another reason is there are a lot of Mormons in Texas, especially in the Houston area and in the Dallas area. And my guess is there are very few in New Orleans or in the whole state of Louisiana, just demographically speaking. So I think that's another reason, BYU. I think if this game had been moved to Dallas, I think BYU probably could have got another 5,000-10,000 people there. But with like I said, with being in New Orleans, it's you're not going to see much for BYU representation, I don't think.
And I also assume it's easier to switch a flight and get one from Salt Lake to Dallas, since they're both massive hubs, as opposed to getting to New Orleans, where there's probably not too many direct flights from Salt Lake to New Orleans.
Yeah, there's one per day. I actually got it. I got lucky when
there
they
you
made
go.
the change last night,
Yeah.
and got it. So there is one direct flight between Salt Lake and New Orleans, but like you said, not a lot. Most of them will be routed through Atlanta, it looks like.
Jay, what is BYU's travel plan? Have they hashed that out yet? When will they get to New Orleans? And do you know, will the team get a chance to work out in the Dome before Saturday night?
Yeah, those are questions we'll have. They're having some media availability today around noon, so those will be some questions we'll have for them. But as of right now, I don't know. I know they obviously had to find a hotel and all that in New Orleans for the whole traveling party and all that too, which was they were, from what I understand, were kind of struggling with late last night. So yeah, there's a lot of logistics like that are probably being worked out today.
Jay Drew covers BYU football and basketball for the Salt Lake Tribune. Join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan here with you. Jay, on the field, look, they had a chance to have, I guess, their first I'm not going to call it preseason game, but they played Portland State, obviously a warm-up game for LSU, and BYU won 20-6. And Ed Ogeron even saying yesterday in his press conference that he feels like maybe BYU might have held some things back and in gearing up for LSU. What was your perspective of the game last weekend?
Yeah, they were pretty vanilla on both offense and defense. They only ran two kind of running plays that I noticed. Obviously, they ran some different passing routes and stuff like that. So they were really vanilla on defense. I can't remember a single blitz. So they kept it pretty conservative there. They're not a big blitzing team, as it were, but I think the discomforting thing for BYU fans was that their offensive and defensive lines, which they were hoping would be a strength of the team, were pretty much didn't manhandle Portland State. They didn't dominate like they probably should have dominated an FCS foe. So that was what was kind of unsatisfying about the win for BYU. And then, they had some issues in the red zone and things like that too, that obviously if they can't punch the ball in against Portland State, you wonder if they'll even cross the 50-yard line against LSU's defense. That's kind of the sentiment around here. So it was a good tune-up, I guess, but there was a lot of questions left unanswered for BYU.
Jay, is this a typical BYU for LSU fans that probably see BYU from time to time but aren't quite familiar with their program? I know Ty Detmer, of course, is offensive coordinator there. Tanner Mangum is kind of a classic drop-back passer. Is this a typical BYU offense that we're going to see? We're so used to seeing over the years, all the way back through the years with a great passing attack?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to work back towards. The last few years that they were more of a running defense and running-oriented team, just to take advantage of their personnel. They had Jamal Williams, the leading rusher in school history, who's now with the Packers. They had Taysom Hill, who's a dual-threat quarterback, but primarily a running threat. And so they went away from the traditional kind of West Coast offense that the BYU teams have ran for many, many years. They went more to the rushing attack. But they're going definitely with Mangum being a pure drop-back passer. They're definitely going back to the BYU days of old, when Ty Detmer played, Steve Young, Jim McMahon, Robbie Bosco, some of those names. But there's going to be probably some growing pains, as we saw Saturday with Mangum. He started in 12 games as a freshman when Taysom Hill got hurt, but he looked pretty rusty Saturday. So that's kind of where it sits right now.
Jay, one more, and we'll let you run. Jay Drew from the Salt Lake Tribune covers BYU. You could follow him on Twitter @DrewJ. A lot of talk. You're mentioning offense versus LSU's defense, but LSU's offense, new offensive coordinator, and we don't even know exactly what they're going to be running. How much of a challenge is BYU? Understand that this is not Les Miles' offense where it's beat your head against the wall, run, and there could be some new wrinkles to this thing.
Yeah, they talked quite a bit about that yesterday. Some of the defensive players saying they were studying film from Pitt and other places where Canada had been. They basically, when you said, hey, did you get an advantage by playing a game, BYU players said, well, probably not, because LSU was able to watch us where we haven't, all we have is the spring game film and like I said, and film from Pitt and other places. So that's probably a wash in their eyes as far as who has the advantage, whether having played a game or having not. So, but yeah, that definitely, it's a mystery to them. The defensive coordinator said a few days ago that really he goes into this game as blind as he's been in his career as far as what the opponent will do.
Jay Drew covers BYU for the Salt Lake Tribune. Hey, Jay, appreciate the time. I know you're busy, and I know you're taking an unexpected turn to New Orleans, but safe travels, and try to enjoy the city when you get here.
Do.
There you go. All right,
Thanks,
Jay, appreciate it. Yep, appreciate the time. That's Jay Drew, the Salt Lake Tribune. You can follow him on Twitter at DrewJ to get all the latest on BYU. And, Jeff, I'm wondering the same thing as you. I mean, they've got to alter everything. This is an easy switch for LSU. This is a major switch for BYU. And I mentioned it before the show. You can kind of chuckle at it because it's a bash of both worlds, but it's BYU and Mormon country coming down to New Orleans, and a lot of these hotels are filled up because it's Decadence Festival.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting mix.
Absolutely.
We always talk about the eccentric demographics of New Orleans. We're going to see it. Really,
both sides are going to see it firsthand, and we just sit back and watch and be like, look, that's a Tuesday for us.
But every advantage in this game is going to go to LSU now. I mean, all the intangibles.
Absolutely.
They're not going to have to really travel. BYU's got to travel. They're going to have way more fans here. They're playing in a familiar spot, as we mentioned before. BYU's played in the Dome one time in their history.
Well, they beat up Tulane like 50-something to 3, you told me, right?
Right, 2009.
So they got that going for them.
Jay, I guess, probably covered that game. We should have asked him about if he had any memories of that.
Maybe so.
That would have been one you could have probably gone out late the night before if you were
probably so
in town for the first time in New Orleans.
Absolutely. So let's take a break right here, and much of the show will switch gears to Saints, but we want your interaction. 504-260-1280. What do you make of LSU BYU coming down here? Interesting change. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Jordy Hultzberg, 2 till 4.
Is Alabama's dominance bad for the SEC? Nick said, well, there's parity in the league. Yeah, there's parity. There's you, and then there's about 6 teams that will challenge for the number 2 spot, and then there's a third tier. So there's really a 3-tier SEC.
Sports 1280.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings with great deals for your home inside and out. Refresh your walls or renew your deck with $10 to $40 off paint, exterior stains, and resurfacers. And if you've been craving new appliances, get up to 40% off select appliance special values on some of the best brands in the business. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Paint offer valid 8/24 through 9/6 via rebate. Appliance offer valid 8/24 through 9/13. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
James from Metallica here.
This is Lars.
It's iHeartRadio.
Hey, we're Seether. Stay connected with all our music through the iHeartRadio app.
Open up the free iHeartRadio app right now and type in your favorite artist name to make a custom station based on all their biggest hits.
Free!
This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
We're Green Day.
All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free.
Download our free iHeartRadio app or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
$1,800 for flights and hotel for a 2-day business trip.
Oh, deep breaths, friend. Business travel's about the journey, not the destination. It's time for you to travel on a new path to savings. The path to Upside.com.
Does anyone know this person?
By bundling your flights and hotel together at Upside, you'll be swimming in the deep end of the savings pool.
What kind of savings?
Well, not only can your company save hundreds on your trip, Upside will reward you, the business travel warrior, with gift cards that could be worth $100 or more every business trip you take.
Seriously?
Yeah. Use code BIZ100 and you'll get at least a $100 Amazon gift card. That's code BIZ100 at Upside.com. Once you see the savings, you can never unsee them.
That's deep.
I know, right? Upside.com, the better way to buy business travel.
Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details.
We alarm our houses and we alarm our cars. But when it comes to your personal information, it can be tough to know when something isn't right. That's where Discover Card can help. Now, we'll send you an alert if we find your social security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. And this service is free for card members. Just sign up online. It's our way of looking out for you, not just your account. Learn more at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
If you have a dog, listen up. The summer heat can kill dogs left outside in no time. Just because someone forgot to check for water and shade. Go to PETA.org for help and information on how to keep your dog safe in hot weather.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Jeff, we've got all this LSU BYU talk in New Orleans. We're forgetting about the most important game of the week, Saints Ravens Thursday night. Get fired up.
Do we have to go to that? Are we being assigned
I heard
that?
you don't. I gotta go, but you don't.
I've been relieved of my duties. Thank goodness. By wise editors.
Lucky for you.
Yes, I'll watch it. I'll watch the third stringers go against the fourth stringers from each side.
And it's different than in previous years because cut down day has not happened yet. Usually you'd be down to 75 players. Now you still have 90 on your, well, you can have up to 90 on your roster. And so now you're really going to be watching the guys who they don't have a shot at making the team and they're just playing out the string. And I mean, Drew Brees might not even go. Like, if I got to go, Drew's got to go. He has to at least be there for a little while.
Drew might be kicking back uptown at his house near Ottoman Park and just watching the game with the family.
Or neck deep in Vikings film. I bet you he will be
That's
that.
more likely, knowing Drew.
Knowing Drew.
It would be better
likely.
served for him to be game planning for the Vikings than to even be at this game. But, he'll be there and coaching up the backup quarterbacks as he always does.
That's just his thing. And is he going to be doing like the crazy shenanigans like he did? Remember when he sat out against the Panthers and he was like mimicking the plays?
Right.
And just looking like a weird robot on the sideline. I don't know why he was doing that, but that's true.
Don't you remember Zach Streif telling us that Breeze does everything the same way when he does his visualization of the scripted 15 plays, that he does everything the exact same way as he does in the game. He calls the play out in the huddle to himself in the team hotel when he does his visualization ceremony or whatever you call it, his practice session. He does that all the exact same way. So he is kind of an android.
That's why he's one of the best ever. So he can have his quirks. I'm sure Saints fans like, Drew, just keep being you. It's cool.
We actually asked Zach, we said, it sounds like he's a little OCD. And he said, yeah, but it's the best kind of OCD there can be.
Not the annoying one.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So plenty of news, though, coming out of Saints camp as they will have a short practice. I think it's actually going to be getting close to wrapping up. And then they will be getting ready, taking off tomorrow and getting ready for the Thursday nighter in the Dome. But Jeff, already making some moves. Our own Josh Katzenstein reporting that veteran defensive end Jason Jones is going to be released. And to me, that's no surprise. Veteran guy, 9-year veteran, but he came in late to the game, and you just assumed things weren't going to work out for him. But the Saints made a trade, and I'm just going to tell you, they just must not like Justin Drescher anymore.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
Yes. They have traded for the Philadelphia Eagles' long snapper, John Dorenbos, for a 2019 7th-round pick. 2019 7th-round pick. Wow.
That is a weird trade. I mean, everything's weird. You know, we had Sam Farmer on a couple weeks ago. Sam Farmer wrote a great feature story. If you're out there and you're sitting in front of your laptop, Google LA Times, Sam Farmer, and John Dorenbaugh about him being a magician.
Yes, that's all I know.
It's incredible.
I saw the magic jokes and him like pulling a rabbit out of a hat in a picture. I was like, what is it? What's up with this guy?
I love it.
Wasn't he on one of those America's Got Talent shows?
Yes.
I think that's what even Chase Daniel on Twitter last night saying he's like one of the best guys in humanity. So that's good. But Justin Drescher, our reporter saw at practice yesterday. He was in a walking boot, and They almost like begrudgingly brought Justin Drescher back after the other 3 long snappers they had either working out or signed. They cut him or just cut him loose, and they're obviously looking for someone else other than him.
I can't understand. I mean, what they have against Justin Drescher. Thomas Morstead just this past week raved over how good he is.
Did he cost him money like Kevin Hauser? I don't think so.
There's more to this story than we know.
There has to be.
It just doesn't make any sense, and it'll be interesting to hear. Look, I actually like the move, though. Don't mess around with it. If you're going to have to, if Drescher is out for a while or whatever, don't mess around with the unknown. Go get a guy that's experienced. This is not right before the start of the season, this is not a position or a aspect that you need to worry about going into Minnesota. Now they get an 11-year veteran that's been through the wars, and I think they probably feel pretty good about it.
Yes, they've had enough special teams issues. Snap can't be the problem, and I'm with you. I mean, it's a 2019 7th-round pick. Who cares? I mean, it's
right.
I'm fine with the trade. It's just it's interesting that there was he wasn't even the first long snapper traded yesterday. There was another one.
I know, it's amazing.
It's long snapper mania. But yesterday's practice, good news for the Saints. Ryan Ramczyk returned to practice, so obviously that's something the Saints want to see. Also, Travaris Cadet, Tevez Calhoun, Senio Calamete, and John Fullington returned to practice. Willie Snead, Sterling Moore, Craig Robertson did not practice yesterday. Nate Stupar also missed. I mentioned him in our linebacker talk yesterday. John Phillips wasn't practicing. Stephon Anthony, Delvin Breaux. They also put Clay Harbor on injured reserve as they signed Audie Cole, who is a veteran linebacker who could be like a special teams guy, but yeah. So there's a lot that's going to happen in the next couple of days, transaction wise.
I've got to wonder why Philadelphia traded this guy. It makes no sense to me. I mean, there's a list of players that tweeted out yesterday, teammates, about how great he is in the locker room, what a great leader he is. Why would you trade a guy? It's not that much difference in money.
Well, you don't want to pay $1 million for a long snapper if you don't have to. So maybe that's it. I don't know. So we'll see. So come on back. Hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. We'll talk some more Saints. There is a new highest paid quarterback in the NFL, Matt Stafford. We'll dive into that. And what does that mean for Drew Brees after this season? Panic. Panic time on a Tuesday for Saints fans here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
There's a common assumption about identity theft. A lot of people believe it's just credit card fraud, but credit card fraud isn't the only form of identity theft. And if you're just protecting your identity by monitoring your credit and checking your bank statements, you could miss some forms of identity theft you didn't think about, like your information being for sale on the dark web, someone getting an online payday loan in your name, or even somebody draining your 401k. Good thing there's LifeLock. They use proprietary technology to detect and alert you to a wide range of identity threats. If you have a problem, one of their U.S.-based restoration specialists will work to fix it. Of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But with LifeLock, you can see more than you'd see by just monitoring your credit. Join now. Get 10% off by using the promo code Patrick. 1-800-LifeLock, or go to LifeLock.com. Make sure you use the promo code Patrick for 10% off. LifeLock.com or call 1-800-LifeLock to save 10% now.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports trending now.
Well, Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott's having the appeal of his 6-game suspension heard today by arbitrator Harold Henderson. When the Agent for quarterback Matt Stafford said, "Throw me the money!" The Lions said okay, and they made him the highest paid player in the NFL, a 5-year, $135 million contract extension, $92 million of that reportedly guaranteed. Comes out to $27 million a year. Speaking of big contracts, according to multiple reports, the Browns are actively trying to trade cornerback Joe Hayden to move what's left of his hefty contract. Extension he signed in 2014 was for 5 years and $67.5 million. College hoops news, legendary Michigan State coach Judd Heathcote has passed away at age 90. He guided Magic Johnson and the Spartans to the 1979 National Championship. Astros-Rangers series starts today. Won't be played in Houston, but at Tropicana Field. I'm Deb Carson.
When you work as hard as you do, you deserve to sleep harder every night. So this Labor Day, to help you sleep your best, all mattresses are on sale during Mattress Firm's Labor Day sale. Like Hampton & Roads Queen mattresses starting at just $99.99. And we know you can't put a price on great sleep. But if you could, we'd beat it by 10%. So now through Monday, don't miss Mattress Firm's Labor Day sale. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offers and prices may vary by state.
We interrupt your broadcast to bring you this, a phenomenon from Wendy's that can only be described as a giant Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. A delicious anomaly doubling the size and taste of Wendy's iconic Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. Double the bacon, double the cheese, and good heavens, double the fresh, never frozen beef. And what's this? A Wendy's giant Junior Bacon Cheeseburger with nuggets, fries, and a drink for just $5. Run to your nearest Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time. Meal includes small fries and a drink. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
AutoZone presents the oil change. Regular oil changes protect your engine from wear and tear, helping your car roll well beyond the 100,000-mile mark. Right now, you save with a $24.99 oil change special. Get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX conventional or high-mileage oil and an STP oil filter for up to $5.99. So visit your local AutoZone. With over 5,000 locations, the right supplies and good advice are just around the corner. Let's get you what you need. See store for restrictions and details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Greetings, Detective. Did you catch our bad guys?
My last big case was the Mercedes killer. From the mind of Stephen King.
You failed.
This guy's really trying to get into your head, isn't he?
Having bad thoughts, Detective.
An all-new AT&T original series.
This is our guy.
We both got vengeance on the brain.
Nothing wrong with a little vengeance. Mr. Mercedes, all new Wednesdays at 8, only on Audience. DirecTV Channel 239 and streaming on DirecTV Now.
Sports 1280, New Orleans. Instant replay. Chris Gordy, mornings 8 to 10.
He is Coach Rick Venturi jumping on with us right now in Sports 1280. Man, you're from the coaching to the media world. You're just you're taking over.
I stepped over the line. The coaches always kid me. I always say I have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
What was worse, late nights at the office or putting on makeup for TV?
That's a great question. The pressure of coaching. I did it 41 years and 27 in the NFL. And when my day was done, I knew it was done, and I had other interests in life. But I will say, I love radio. I'm on for an hour on Monday and an hour on Wednesday here in Indianapolis, which most segments are 15 minutes. But you're right. To get this guy ready takes a lot of makeup on that television.
Listen live weekdays on Sports 1280 and the free iHeartRadio app, or catch up at sports1280.com.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings that'll help you enjoy your outdoors a great deal more. Get a sizzling $30 savings on a Charbroil Performance 4-burner gas grill, now for just $169. And get your fall flower and vegetable gardens growing with Stay Green Garden Soil. 3 bags are now just $10. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid 8/23 through 8/30 while supplies last. U.S. only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Are you looking to fit more fun in your life? Well, there's no better car to do that than the 2018 Honda Fit. Thanks to its second row magic seat, you can configure the Fit into not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Yes, I said 4 unique modes. Enjoy all of this flexibility in an interior loaded with advanced tech like an available 7-inch display audio touchscreen from which you can access available Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Want more? Great, because the Fit has plenty to offer. Find out for yourself at your local Honda dealer.
Hour number 2 here on Dunc and Holder, Tuesday, August 29th. It doesn't look like it's raining out, but stay safe, people. I mean, literally, schools are canceled today. Businesses are barely operating because no need to go out if you don't have to today. I would heed Mayor Mitch Landrieu's advice on this one today.
Yeah, I think we need to just basically vegetate for a couple days. There's some movies you want to watch. You want to binge watch a series. This is the day to do it. Or catch up on some reading. Lord knows we don't get enough time to read. Just do something inside and be safe.
Or binge listen to Dunc and Holder.
All of our
Binge
podcasts.
listen. Absolutely. Jeff, you saw how I was teasing?
I like that. I'm getting the hang of this tease thing.
You're getting hip. Sports1280.com, NOLA.com's iTunes, NOLA.com, SoundCloud, and you can go to our YouTube live stream. You can watch it and go back and on our NOLA.com YouTube feed. We have all of the shows there as well. And, yeah, we had an action-packed first hour talking with Chris Dabe, LSU beat writer for us at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. Had Jay Drew, who covers BYU for the Salt Lake Tribune, and his travel plans have obviously changed as LSU and BYU will be playing Saturday night in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome as opposed to an NRG Stadium. That was officially made yesterday, and it is certainly going to be something that's a hindrance, and yet the reason why everyone has to understand because of all the devastation that's going on in the Houston area and the surrounding areas, and even West Louisiana is getting it, and we're getting some of this too. So you got to understand, and I think all parties involved do, but it's still, you still want to win football games, and that's part of the equation here as well. And obviously it gives LSU an advantage here that they will be in the Dome, and BYU has to totally change their plans from one venue that they probably had booked for months and scramble to get something here and even just to house their players because hotel occupancy has been way up this weekend.
And here's the thing. I think BYU is probably handling this with a lot of class and professionalism and understanding of the circumstances as opposed to the way LSU handled the Florida game a year ago, throwing a fit and trying to force the game in Baton Rouge, which they ultimately did. And I think karma weighed in there when they lost that game to the Gators. I would hate to think how LSU fans would be handling, or some LSU fans, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of fans, and how they handled that game a year ago if the shoe was on the other foot and they were having to play right outside of Salt Lake City on a neutral site game.
Wait, so you're blaming LSU for the Florida stuff?
Of course, yes. Who doesn't blame LSU for that?
All of LSU folks and lots of people who cover the team.
Of all people, we should understand when we have a storm and all the circumstances involved in that, and there should be more understanding.
But it didn't even rain the day of the game.
Doesn't matter.
It was bright sunshine.
It doesn't matter. We should understand.
You would have got sunburnt. You would have got sunburnt if you would have went to the swamp there.
How chaotic it is. Of all people, we should understand that. And we and LSU administration looked. I don't even know what to say about it. They looked completely and look, it came back to haunt them. They lost the game. Now they got to go down to Gainesville 2 years in a row.
That is not optimal, obviously.
No,
and that makes their schedule way more difficult this year because of it. But
no, you got to understand that there's first responders, everything involved with a storm. Just like today, look at what we're dealing with today. We're not in the eye of the storm of a hurricane, but we're dealing with a shutdown of a major city.
If that's because the pumps have been haywire unknowingly to us. So that's why. If we knew pumps were working, there would not be some mass shutdown. There just
I just remember covering the Saints beat a decade ago. I can't remember when it was. Was it Isaac or Ivan came through? And I evacuated with the Saints because they evacuated to San Antonio to hold practice ahead of the storm. And we flew on the Saints charter to San Antonio, practiced 3 days over there when Jim Haslett was the head coach. And it didn't even rain in New Orleans. That's what happened.
I remember that. I was at LSU. They canceled school for like 2 days, and it never rained.
It never even rained here.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You understand that these things are chaotic, and you can't wait to the last minute. You have to make plans ahead of time in preparation. We should understand that. And LSU people, or Joe Oliva in that group, should have handled that better. and I think it came back to haunt him.
Oh, spicy take. Look, let me tell you, I did not anticipate that coming from Jay Dunc here today. But, man, throwing Spitfire and Venom.
I think I'm the only one in the entire state that feels this way.
That's why I should not be taken aback because Jeff, he's his own man. If it's against the grain he wants to go, it's against the grain he wants to go. That's just you.
Call it like you see it, right?
Just like Saints fans assume that you carry Roger Goodell's bags wherever he goes, and if you see a T-shirt or like a sign in a restaurant still these days that you will not serve this man, you will convince your good friend Brett Anderson to give it 0 beans, and the restaurant crashes and burns.
I call it like I see it. That's our jobs. We can't carry the pom-poms all the time.
No, we do not carry the pom-poms all the time.
Either one of us, and that's part of the gig, right?
That is part of the gig. And speaking of not carrying the pom-poms, I put out a little tweet last night, and I feel like I haven't been super spicy on Twitter in a while. I don't know if the show's gotten in the way and I save all my spicy takes for the show, or kids and family has gotten in the way of me being just a nonstop goob on Twitter. But I don't feel like my tweet was that gooberish. It was on the heels of Matt Stafford being now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and I guess this makes him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. Every deal jumps it, and they become that title.
Probably be that for another year, and somebody else will get paid.
And you look at it, Matt Stafford has won, 0 playoff games? Maybe 1? Has he won a playoff game yet in life?
That I don't know.
I think he's not won a playoff game. Jay Cutler has more playoff wins than Matt Stafford. That's
Jay
fact.
Cutler won a playoff game?
He got to the NFC title game with the Bears. They lost to Green Bay a few years ago. Remember, Jay Cutler got hurt, and he didn't look hurt, and he just stood around there, and he popped a cigarette in his mouth and started smoking, and all hell broke loose on the internet. But Matt Stafford is the highest paid quarterback.
What did you say that raised the ire of fans on Twitter? Because it takes so much to outrage Twitter Nation.
I did not anticipate the venom, but I should have known better. If anytime you, in people's eyes, unnecessarily throw up that Drew Brees is in a contract year and someone might come after him after this year, he's in the final year of his deal.
Hater. Drink your haterade.
Exactly. So all I said was, which team is willing to go 2 years, $60 million for Drew Brees this offseason? Because you see what Stafford gets. Some quarterback desperate team is going to be going to Tom Condon and saying, hey, Drew, we've got this money. You want to take one more shot? Come to our place. A la Denver. What about them? I always see them. They did it with Peyton Manning. Same agent. Do you think Drew Brees would be worth 2 years, $60 million? I'm just curious.
Oh, I would, yeah. I'd pay him anything. I think he's underpaid. I've felt that like that for years. The true stars, the superstars, LeBron James in the NBA, he should make $75 or $100 million a year.
Steph Curry, I know you've said the same thing about.
They're underpaid. The superstars are, and the general role players are overpaid. So Solomon Hill, great guy, like dealing with him, good role player, doesn't deserve to make $12 million a year. Should make $1 million or $2 million a year. All the rest of the money should go to Anthony Davis. That's how it should be. That's who's putting butts in the seats. The superstars.
I think this just brings the question because other contracts are going to be coming up. Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, and Drew Brees, even though his age, he's going to have a market if he would ever hit free agency.
All going to come down, I think you and I agree on this, to how this season plays out. If it bottoms out and there's a lot of change on Airline Drive, there's a small percentage chance that he could move on. I think it's a very small percentage chance. But if that does happen, I think it's a possibility, and I think that's what Tom Condon and Drew Brees, that's the hand they're playing right now, trying to keep it close to the vest and just year to year see how this thing plays out here in New Orleans.
Could you see Drew playing in a different jersey?
It would be weird. I mean, he obviously played in a Chargers uniform.
Saying after this.
Yeah, it would be strange. I was just this morning looking through our archive of NOLA.com photos of Drew Brees, which we have literally thousands of. And it hit me just how long he's been here and how fortunate Saints fans are. Look, after decades of suffering out in the desert, struggling to find a quarterback, they finally find one of the greatest of all time, and it's been a remarkable 12 years. I
almost think it would be worth it, even if they're average, for Tom Benson to give Brees some. If that's the contract it would take, I'd still give it to him, because if you move on from him, guess what? Who's not going to be moving into the seats in the Superdome? Drew Brees still draws butts in the seats, and if he's gone, and you've got Chase Daniel or a rookie or somebody else, you're toast. You're in trouble.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for. I mean, if this thing falls apart and they decide to blow it up, we're talking about a complete overhaul, and I think they'll struggle to sell tickets in the new overhauled Superdome in the future. It's going to happen one day, though. It's inevitable. But I think they need to ride this train as long as they can. And I actually think this team's going to be good. As you know, my crystal ball column ran Sunday, 10-6.
10-6? What?
Again, going against the grain, as usual.
10-6. Let's hear more about that when we get back here on Dunc and Holder, because 10-6, you were not that 10-6 man 2 weeks ago.
I know, but that's what preseason's about. That's what it's about. Last year, I thought they were going to be better when I went to camp, and of course, I had to file my prediction column the first week in West Virginia when I got there. And after I watched them for a couple weeks in preseason, I downgraded them to 8-8.
You told me yesterday to calm down about the defense. Now you think they're 10-6.
Yes,
and that's what the preseason's all about.
Well, it's not just all the defense. I think they've improved the running game. I think they've solidified the kicking game. Now that Lutz looks solid, almost every area they needed to get better at, I think they have. Except I'm still skeptical about the pass rush, and they have no margin for error. I want to make that clear. If Mike Thomas goes down, if God forbid Drew Brees goes down, Cam Jordan, I mean, they can't afford to lose some of these key guys.
No. And just a quick practice update just ended up a few minutes ago. Our own Herbie Teope saying that Willie Snead, Larry Warford, Craig Robertson, Nate Stupar, Stephon Anthony, Tyler Davison were not out at practice. And Stephon might be at the movers buying some boxes because it's time to move on.
Hot take, a little spicy. You're saving all your hot takes for Dunc
I've
and
had
Holder.
that
I
take
like that.
for like 6 months, so I don't think it's as hot
they also
anymore.
put John Phillips on IR. He was a guy they actually liked, a reserve tight end, good blocker. They put him on IR. Herbie reported that. And I think Stupar must be hurt a little bit because they signed a linebacker, right? Then they bring in a new linebacker.
Right.
That's always a sign. When you see a guy get hurt in a game and a day or two later they sign somebody at that same position, usually means they need some numbers there.
And Sean Payton saying that Max Unger will get some work in Thursday night's game against the Ravens, and certainly a good sign.
That's a great
sign.
sign.
No doubt about it. Absolutely.
That's a great sign. I haven't heard anything yet about Ryan Ramczyk, right?
Well, he practiced yesterday. It seemed like he practiced today. And interesting quote from Sean Payton today. It's good to be Tom Condon, quote, unquote, because he is Matt Stafford's agent, and he happens to just represent Mr. Number 9, Drew Brees.
Shocking turn of events there.
Tom Condon owns the quarterback world, essentially. Be ready, Saints fans. Be prepared.
It's going to be a massive contract, and he's going to deserve it, in my opinion. All the stuff that Drew Brees does off the field, you have to factor that in, what he's worth to a franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. So let's get to your crystal ball column, because we tried to do it yesterday. So much was going on, ran out of time. Let's get to it today, and then around 11:35, we will have Danny Kelly on, NFL writer for The Ringer. That's Bill Simmons' site. Some great writers there. Danny had a really cool story on Cam Jordan and how he is essentially the least talked about very good pass rusher in the NFL. So we'll talk with him about that. And your phone calls, 504-260-1280 if you want to get involved in the show here on Sports 1280. NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app with Dunc and Holder.
Join Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground, 4 till 6.
I think when you come to the Neutral Ground, you can expect sports, news, politics, food, music, whatever's going on, the vibe of the city.
Sports 1280.
New Orleans.
Hey, it's Jim. I can't take your call right now. I'm digging for oil in my basement to help pay for my family's mobile bill. A little crazy, you say? You try getting a data plan that has enough gigs for my family. And I thought braces were expensive. We definitely need a switch.
Stuck in a dysfunctional family plan? Switch to Boost Best Family Plan right now and get 4 lines for just $25 per line, each with unlimited gigs. With Metro PCS, you only get 2 gigs per line for the same price. Plus, switch today and get up to 4 free phones, all on the fast and reliable Sprint nationwide network. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Offer ends 9/10/17. Requires 1 line to port in. Lines include unlimited data, talk, and text. Video streams optimized at up to 480p plus resolution. Music up to 500 kilobits per second and cloud gaming up to 2 megabits per second. Data deprioritization applies during congestion. Comparison based on Metro PCS's 2 GB promo plan as of 4/25/17. For additional details, visit their website. Free phones while supplies last. Requires port in and activation on $100 plan. Coverage and offers not available everywhere. Restrictions apply.
Low prices every day.
Nifty Car Rental. Best rates, best service, and best vehicles. Free pickup, delivery, and drop-off. 504-525-4551. Be Nifty. Call Nifty.
Low prices every day.
We interrupt your broadcast to bring you this, a phenomenon from Wendy's that can only be described as a giant junior bacon cheeseburger. A delicious anomaly doubling the size and taste of Wendy's iconic junior bacon cheeseburger. Double the bacon, double the cheese, and good heavens, double the fresh, never frozen beef. And what's this? A Wendy's giant junior bacon cheeseburger with nuggets, fries, and a drink for just $5. Run to your nearest Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time, meal includes small fries and a drink. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
When you work as hard as you do, you deserve to sleep harder every night. So this Labor Day, to help you sleep your best, all mattresses are on sale during Mattress Firm's Labor Day sale. Like Hampton & Roads Queen mattresses starting at just $99.99. And we know you can't put a price on great sleep. But if you could, we'd beat it by 10%. So now through Monday, don't miss Mattress Firm's Labor Day sale. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offers and prices may vary by state.
We interrupt your broadcast to bring you this, a phenomenon from Wendy's that can only be described as a giant junior bacon cheeseburger. A delicious anomaly doubling the size and taste of Wendy's iconic junior bacon cheeseburger. Double the bacon, double the cheese, and good heavens, double the fresh, never frozen beef. And what's this? A Wendy's giant junior bacon cheeseburger with nuggets, fries, and a drink for just $5. Run to your nearest Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time, meal includes small fries and a drink. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back. Dunc and Holder here. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved in the show. Coming up in about 12 minutes. Oh, or right now. We got him right now. Sorry. Programming change on the fly here on Dunc and Holder. But good programming change. Pleased to be joined by Danny Kelly of The Ringer. Join us right here on Dunc and Holder. And Danny, you wrote an interesting story that I know myself and Jeff Duncan, who've covered Cam Jordan for a few years now, and he has been basically the saving grace of a Saints defense that always kind of gets stepped upon because the rest of it's so bad. But Danny, first off, appreciate you jumping on the show. And just what have you seen from Cam Jordan just through the past few years, and specifically last year, where you feel like he's probably one of the more underappreciated defensive ends in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's one of those guys I think people forget about. I mean, when you talk about the top pass rushers in the NFL, his name rarely comes up. And actually, I'm sure this joke happens a lot with you guys too, but like, people probably confuse him for the former Browns and Dolphins tight end quite a bit.
There has been a story or two maybe written in town about Jordan Cameron being Cam Jordan.
Yeah. But, I mean, he is just such a fun player to watch. I've been meaning to write about him for a couple of years now and finally got the opportunity. We did a Masterminds Week at The Ringer, and his name came to mind just because he just doesn't get the credit that he deserves as a pass rusher. I mean, he's a big guy. In terms of, pass rushers, defensive players in general seem to be getting smaller as the years go on. And as offenses spread out and all that. But he's still a big guy, very physical, excellent against the run. But, I mean, he just consistently gets pressure on the quarterback. I wrote for Football Outsiders Almanac, he had 52 quarterback hurries this year, which is second in the NFL. So it's just kind of crazy to me that nobody talks about him more.
Yeah, Danny, that's a great point. And Larry and I were talking on the show yesterday about the Saints' recent preseason game against the Texans. And there was a play in particular in the game where Tom Savage, the Texans quarterback, got pressured by A.J. Klein, couldn't really step into his throw, had to hurry it a little bit. And as a result, he hangs the ball up in the air a little too long, allows Marshawn Lattimore, the cornerback, to get and recover after he'd been beaten deep and knock the ball down. Everyone praises Marshawn Lattimore, rightfully so, because they see that conspicuously, but nobody thinks about the actual hurry that A.J. Klein had, and that doesn't show up in the stat book, and that's kind of what you're talking about with Cam Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Dan Quinn, I'm up in here in Seattle, and Dan Quinn, former Seahawks defensive coordinator, who's now the Falcons head coach, he used to always talk about affecting the quarterback. It was all about affecting the quarterback. You know, it's not necessarily getting a sack. It's about getting him off his spot. It's about pressuring him, you know, even just intimidating. It can often throw off a play. It can throw off the timing of a play. And you know, with offenses these days, everything is so timing-based. So, yeah, I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is the sack rate on defense has gone down over the last couple of years. It's kind of an interesting development. As quarterbacks get the ball out quicker, there's just fewer sacks in the NFL these days. So you have to start looking at other statistics in order to kind of figure out who the best pass rushers are. And I think Jordan really, really stands out in so many different ways. But yeah, his pass rush repertoire is great. I mean, he's got this really nice sort of swim move that he leans on a lot. That it just gets offensive linemen flailing consistently. He's really strong. He can bull rush guys, go right through them. I think there's a couple plays last year I saw where he just literally pushed the left tackle into the quarterback as they're about to throw the ball. So his day was just littered with that. It was a really fun, just fun player to watch.
Danny Kelly, NFL writer for The Ringer, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. You can follow him on Twitter at Danny B. Kelly. Danny, does Cam Jordan need a running mate per se? Because I feel like he was most effective when back in 2013 he's playing alongside Junior Gillette, opened things up for him. And since Gillette's been gone, it's been just a revolving door, and they have not found a secondary guy to Cam Jordan. How much would that help him? Obviously it would, but does he need someone like that to take the heat off of him?
Yeah, I think that would be huge. I mean, if you look at the best pass rushing teams, almost all of them have two guys. And, I mean, the reason that it would help is obvious. Like, you can't chip both sides. You can't you can, but just not very often. And it just makes it a lot harder on the offensive line if you have two guys coming off the edge that are really good. I don't know what the buzz is like for Alex Okafor this year. Obum Gwachum's kind of a young guy that's flashed at times, so I don't know if he's the answer. I don't know if there's anybody there right now that can be that guy. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think of kind of like who the potential possibilities are for that opposite rusher for him.
Well, I think, Danny, down in New Orleans right now, everybody is so psyched about how the defense has performed in the preseason, and I think both of us are a little hesitant to rush to judgment because it is the preseason. Right. They haven't faced really any elite quarterbacks yet, and they're getting ready to get thrown right into the ringer. Obviously, they get Sam Bradford in the Monday night opener, but then they get Tom Brady. They're going to face Cam Newton and Aaron Rodgers in the first 6 games. They're going to face 3 former MVPs. So what's your take on the Saints? I noticed you kind of chronicled how this defense could improve, and I agree with you. I think there's reason for optimism, but how much can they improve from how far down they were?
Well, yeah, that's always a good question. I think defenses can improve pretty significantly from one year to the next. I mean, obviously last season injuries were the huge deal with the Saints, and there was just so many guys that they lost in the defensive secondary that just made things really, really difficult. Getting some more depth at cornerback this year, getting P.J. Williams back, getting Marshawn Lattimore out there is going to be huge. It's obviously kind of a bummer that Delvin Breaux is out for an extended period of time because they were starting to look like a really deep group there. But I do think that teams can kind of turn a corner, and it can happen pretty quickly. So I am actually kind of high on Saints options this year. I'm not going to say that they're going to be a great defense, but I don't think we'll see kind of a league worst defense like we've seen the last couple of years in New Orleans. I just think that there's enough talent there. They've done a good job of getting some depth at different positions that I think that it's going to make a difference, and I think they can finally start to turn that corner.
Danny Kelly with The Ringer, covers the NFL for The Ringer, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. So you think they can turn a corner. How much of a corner do you think they can turn? Because I feel like, have they improved in some areas? Sure, absolutely. But I also feel like Atlanta's Atlanta. I feel like they've improved. I feel like Carolina's probably going to be a little bit better than they were last year, and I feel like Tampa Bay has improved. So it's almost like an arms race. I mean, look, you could finish 9-7 and finish last in this division. It almost kind of seems right now.
Yeah, that is a rough division. I mean, like you said, it is an arms race. Every team kind of went out and got some really scary players, each and every one of them. So, I'd say like maybe the over-under is somewhere in like the teens in terms of ranking, whatever ranking you want to be. I'd say about the mid-level defense is kind of the goal. And if they can get there, I think that's honestly enough, because if you looked at a lot of the teams last year that were in the playoffs and good last year, they were extremely unbalanced. And so right now, there's just very few balanced teams in the NFL. So obviously, the Saints, I think, are going to have a very good offense. And if the defense can just improve marginally, I think that could be enough to put them in the race for the playoffs. Because, I mean, just frankly, there's just not very many balanced teams in the NFL right now. So, I would say somewhere in the middle range. I'm not going to project them as a top 10 defense clearly, but I think that in terms of just the accumulated talent, these guys playing together for a little bit longer and starting to get the system down a little bit better, I think just these sort of marginal improvements could shake out in a good way.
Danny, I know you're based in Seattle. I've got to ask you, is this the year that the Seahawks are finally going to utilize Jimmy Graham properly? I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I watched their games, having covered the Saints, and it's like they traded for the guy, and they don't even know how to apply his ability. Yeah, to
say it's frustrating is an understatement here. I know Seahawks fans love Jimmy Graham. He's just, he's a fun playmaker. He's a great guy. He's exciting. He's a big athlete. He's fast, and everyone was really devastated when he hurt his knee, and then it's just been really exciting to see him come back. But yeah, still in the red zone, particularly inside the 10-yard line, that is where people are just sort of mystified because they haven't used them. I think I actually looked it up earlier this summer. I think in 2 years for the Seahawks, Jimmy Graham had 7 targets inside the 10-yard line.
I know. It's amazing. So, I'm the same way. You get down there, you think it's not that hard. He's 6'7" or 6'6".
And the way that the Saints used him with Brees, it wasn't like anything complex. It was like, hey, run a little out route and box out the guy.
Right.
I just don't really understand why they haven't done it yet. You can't really use the quarterback as short excuse either, because obviously Brees is around the same height as Russell Wilson. So, it's mystifying. They keep talking about how they're going to sort of concentrate on that this year, and I feel like we've heard kind of that refrain over and over, but really love to see that happen more. Last year, Jermaine Kearse was kind of their go-to guy in the red zone, and that was a little bit frustrating, to say the least, but this could be the year that they finally kind of figure it out. Obviously, when they traded for him, they had to figure out exactly how to use him, I think, and it's taken a while. But, he still is like a very good tight end in terms of what the Seahawks offense is a lot lower volume than most. And I think he set actually the record for tight end reception yards last year, actually, for the franchise. So it's not like he's been a bum. But the red zone is definitely the big thing for me to watch this year. I want him to get 8 to 10 touchdowns again, and to me that would make it worth the trade overall.
Danny Kelly, you can follow him on Twitter at Danny B. Kelly, NFL writer for The Ringer. Hey, Danny, appreciate you jumping on just a touch early. And thanks for all the insight. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Good deal. Well, Danny, great insight. And, when we get back here on Dunc and Holder, let's go through your crystal ball column. 10-6. Jeff is on board.
I'm on the bandwagon.
Does 10-6 win the division? I think that's an interesting question there as well.
Not according to my crystal ball.
Oh, so interesting. So we'll get to some of that as we got about 25 minutes left in the show. So when we come back, we will hear Jeff's crystal balls. What are you giggling about?
Oh, that sounded like a Sean Payton. Remember?
No, it's.
Remember that was on our first week of Duncan Holder.
Yeah, because I asked him a question he didn't like.
Crossroads season, Sean.
That's an old term, old used term. No, I don't think so. It's legitimate. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Duncan Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by Dornax Food Center.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. A flash flood watch in effect all the way through Thursday. Today, everybody gets rain, heavy at times, could see some flooding. So remember, never drive through areas that you don't know the depth of the water. Could be dangerous and even deadly. Now for today, with those heavy storms, highs only in the low 80s. Tonight, more spotty storms around at 77. Tomorrow, Wednesday, an 80% chance of rain. Could see some more heavy downpours, flooding possible at 84. Finally, by Thursday, Harvey begins to kick northeastward as we do begin to dry out for late week and the weekend. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
Last week's sale ad ends today at Dornax Food Center. Don't miss great sale prices on 14-count trays of mini muffaladas for only $18.99. Plus Dixie beer and 12-pack 12-ounce cans or bottles is only $12.99. Great deals only at Dornax Food Center, 710 Veterans in Metairie.
When you work as hard as you do, you deserve to sleep harder every night. So this Labor Day, to help you sleep your best, all mattresses are on sale during Mattress Firm's Labor Day sale. Like Hampton & Roads Queen mattresses starting at just $99.99. And we know you can't put a price on great sleep. But if you could, we'd beat it by 10%. So now through Monday, don't miss Mattress Firm's Labor Day sale. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offers and prices may vary by state.
We interrupt your broadcast to bring you this, a phenomenon from Wendy's that can only be described as a giant junior bacon cheeseburger. A delicious anomaly doubling the size and taste of Wendy's iconic junior bacon cheeseburger. Double the bacon, double the cheese, and good heavens, double the fresh, never frozen beef. And what's this? A Wendy's giant junior bacon cheeseburger with nuggets, fries, and a drink for just $5. Run to your nearest Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time. Meal includes small fries and a drink. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Duralast batteries are proven tough in the most extreme conditions. They're tested to start in 140-degree heat or temperatures of 40 below. Yep, they're that tough. So if they can do that, they can definitely perform for your nephew's soccer game, work through a scattered thunderstorm, or be dependable on Sunday afternoon trips to the grocery store. Because no matter what the weather's like, it's nice to know that you've got a proven tough Duralast battery under the hood. Duralast, proven tough, and sold only at AutoZone. Let's get you what you need.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
How's that kitchen remodel coming along?
I haven't found a reliable contractor and have no idea where to start.
What about Home Advisor?
Home what?
Home Advisor. They match you to pre-screened and top-rated pros for any kind of home project. You can even check pricing and book appointments online.
What's the catch?
No catch. Home Advisor is completely free to use.
Really? I'll check it out.
Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
Your home for Cakes Baseball, Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. And Jeff, you think the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl, apparently. That's what you think.
Not going that far, but I like what I see. I like the improvement in all the areas they needed to get better. And I think this team, frankly, is due a little luck. I mean, they haven't had a lot of things go their way the last few years. And the gridiron gods tend to shine on teams from year to year that they've cursed the year before. It's the way the NFL works. Unless you're an elite in the Elite Five or the bottom five and have no hope, you're kind of in the middle, and I think the Saints are due one of those years where things kind of go their way and they get some breaks with injuries, and they just got to be able to survive the early stretch of the season. If they can go 500 in these first 4 to 6 games, it eases up considerably. They play a lot more home games, and I think they'll have momentum.
Well, you mentioned the injury bug, and at least Max Unger sounds like he's going to be playing some snaps Thursday night, and that's a good sign. He's probably the only first-team offensive lineman, maybe Ryan Ramczyk. He was back practicing yesterday, again today too, so probably seems like he'll get some action as well. But I doubt you see Larry Warford. I doubt you see Pete. I doubt you see Streif. Any of those guys you're probably not going to be seeing. And then Sean Payton saying that Delvin Breaux, it might be short-term IR for him. Sounds like the length of the injury would take him that far, so it would be 6 weeks, not 6 games, 6 weeks, and then there's a 2-week buffer where he can get back to practice. And I think he can come back quicker, but
don't rush him back though.
No.
I mean, he's had so many injuries, and I think kind of rushed back last year and was never really that effective when he did come back.
Right.
Let's get Delvin Breaux straight and healthy. Maybe after the break. I don't know. After the bye week.
Well, that would be the 5th week, and then you'd have another week, and then why don't I know this? That if you have a 2-week buffer zone, but can you return early in the 2-week buffer zone? I'm not totally sure, because Rankins came back after 8 weeks out. Not 8 games, but 8 weeks out. I'm not sure if he was eligible to actually come back like 2 weeks earlier, if he was healthy. We need to check on that.
But let's face it, these games were going to be tough to win early on anyway.
Right.
Even if you were fully healthy. So having these guys out, yes, it hurts, but they were going to face a difficult challenge because so many games on the road against good teams. I think if they're 3-3 after Green Bay, that's a great sign for the Saints. If they can somehow win 3 of their first 6 games.
All right, so convince me how they're going 10-6. Convince me. I need convincing.
Well, look, I can go down game by game. I don't think that's what we want to do here. I don't think that's great radio, but I think overall what I'm seeing from the defense, we talked about it yesterday on the show. The linebacker crew they're just better than they've been in the past. They're not superstars, but they're just better. They play better. They're smarter. I think they're instinctive. And I think Cam Jordan, who we just talked about in the last segment, is on the verge of a monster year. He looks much quicker. I haven't talked to him yet about what he did in the offseason. I know he did a lot of cycling and bike training in his home in the Arizona area. But he looks poised to me to be a double-digit sack guy. And I think that's a critical area. They've got to be better, obviously, rushing the passer. And I think the additions in the secondary, Marcus Williams and Marshawn Lattimore, are going to help that area. All they've got to do is get the middle of the pack on defense, clean up the kicking game, and keep this offense humming, and I think they can easily reach 10 wins.
Okay, so I'm looking at your crystal ball column now. You have them. I'm going to have to go through these first few games. You have them losing to the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
You have them beating the Patriots.
Yes.
You have them losing to Carolina.
That game's 50-50. That was a tough one for me.
You have them losing to the Dolphins.
That was a tough one, too.
They're 1-3.
I know.
It's over. If they're 1-3, it's over.
I'm counterintuitive.
Then you have them beating the Lions and losing to Green Bay. So they're 2-4 the first 6 games. They're going to come back from that?
Yes, I think they can.
I have no faith that they come back from that.
And it goes against historical precedent,
right.
I understand. But this team, I think, has the leadership, some of the veterans in the locker room, guys that they brought in, that they can withstand a slow start early.
No chance.
Let's watch it play out.
No.
Genius.
I just took your crystal ball, shook it up, and it was like a magic 8-ball, and now it just says not likely.
I really like the Saints' chances of beating the Patriots. I think that game, everyone and their mother right now is saying they have no shot in that game, and it's ridiculous.
Why?
They're playing. It'll be the home opener. The Superdome's going to be rocking. New England's going to win their opener. They're going to be 1-0, and I think they're going to come in a little fat and happy. I realize that Bill Belichick's good at getting his team to play week to week. I understand that. I think that environment's going to be special, and I don't care if the Saints win or lose their opener. I think they're going to come into the Dome and upset them. I think people are making New England into this juggernaut that's unbeatable. And I don't think they're that good at all.
You don't think that they're that good at all? What?
I don't think they're unbeatable.
They are a juggernaut.
They're very good, but they're not unbeatable. They're not unbeatable.
You don't think that Brandon Cooks is going to go up against P.J. Williams and say, "Hey, pal," and scorch him for like 2 or 3 touchdowns? You really don't think that's going to happen?
I don't think it's that cut and dry. No, not at all. I think they're going to score their points, and I think the Saints will score their points.
Malcolm Butler's going to have 2 picks off Breeze.
They have historically played New England very well. They went up to New England a few years ago, if you remember, and had them beat in Foxborough and gave up a touchdown on, the last play of the game or something like that in New England.
They would have been 6-0.
Who gave them a shot in that game? Nobody.
They would have been 6-0 if they would have won that game.
The Saints are incredibly I forget their record. I have to look it up. I have it for the next show. Their record as an underdog is off the charts in the Breeze Peyton era. It's off the charts.
So you had them going 2-4. So what is that? So you get to 10 wins. They go 8-2 the rest of the year.
It's possible. Yeah, look at that schedule. Look at that schedule.
2 the rest of the year.
It's very possible. And I think the key is going to be getting players back like Taron Armstead and Delvin Breaux, and the leadership in the locker room of avoiding the here we go again, we're 2-4, we're out of it. They got to stay together, and I think they will.
I have no faith that they will. None.
I do.
How? Why?
Just because I'm a genius.
The football
Larry.
Gods are telling you?
I'm a genius.
You're a genius.
Yes.
What?
It's going to happen.
So Jay Cutler's going to scorch him in London.
I feel like I did in 2009 when I remember Brian Ollie Walsh, my colleague at the time, taking a poll on the sidelines in the Saints indoor practice facility what the record was going to be, and I picked the Saints 12-4 and got laughed out of the indoor practice facility. And actually was underestimating them. They went 13-3.
Well, yeah, that's because they won 13 games in a row. You have them starting 1-3. It's over.
My point is, scoff all you want, but when it plays out, you'll see.
It's not going to play out. I will say we got one more segment that's going to play out. I don't know if I can contain myself after this one here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Duncan Holder.
Wines from around the world, great food and live entertainment. It's all part of the second annual Wine on the River, November 11th at Audubon Aquarium Plaza. Get your ticket for only $49 or upgrade to a VIP experience at wineontheriver.NOLA.com. Presented by Southern Glazers, WGNO, and NOLA 38.
You think everyone's watching that show with the girl and the dragons and the game and the throne. But just like the show, that's fantasy. More people in America listen to the radio than watch that throne show. It's true. Radio reaches 93% of Americans each week. That's more than TV, Facebook, and Google. Put that in your dragon and smoke it. Radio reaches more adults, teens, and even millennials. So if you're a marketer, get the most out of your marketing dollar. Talk to the folks who dethrone TV. Go to iHeartMedia.com for the one place you can reach everybody. AM/FM radio.
We interrupt your broadcast to bring you this, a phenomenon from Wendy's that can only be described as a giant junior bacon cheeseburger. A delicious anomaly doubling the size and taste of Wendy's iconic junior bacon cheeseburger. Double the bacon, double the cheese, and good heavens, double the fresh, never frozen beef. And what's this? A Wendy's giant junior bacon cheeseburger with nuggets, fries, and a drink for just $5. Run to your nearest Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time. Meal includes small fries and a drink. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Napa know-how.
The Napa Legend battery does legendary things, like starting your car when the heat index hits $125, or making sure your AC stays running like a gazelle. And now, when you buy a Napa Legend battery, you'll get a prepaid Visa card by mail worth $15. $15 back and a new battery? That's not just legendary. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 8/31/17.
The backyard's looking great, Rob. Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors? Why don't you just ask Home Advisor? Home what? HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job. Nice. Now, how much does it cost? Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free. What's the website again? HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
You're invited to the Raintree Children and Family Services Golf Tournament. It's September 25th at the Chateau Golf and Country Club in Kenner. Foursomes are still available. It'll be a great day with all proceeds benefiting Raintree and its mission of helping children find foster homes and assisting kids with developmental delays. Find out more. Go to RaintreeServices.org. A message from Sports 1280 Communities, helping to make a difference in New Orleans.
In the developing world, more than 400 children are born with a cleft lip and or palate. Join Smile Train in giving a smile to them. Smile Train empowers doctors to do a simple surgery free for the child's family. To learn more, visit smiletrain.org because a smile has the power to change everything.
Shop Lowe's and take advantage of early Labor Day savings that'll help you enjoy your outdoors a great deal more. Get a sizzling $30 savings on a Charbroil Performance 4-burner gas grill, now for just $169. And get your fall flower and vegetable gardens growing with Stay Green Garden Soil. 3 bags are now just $10. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid 8/23 through 8/30 while supplies last. U.S. only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Do you know the early signs of autism in children? Signs can include lack of speech, lack of eye contact, and sensory sensitivity. Knowing the signs of autism and addressing it early can make a world of difference. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Dunc and Holder back at you. One more segment. Living color.
I like it.
I like it. There you go. I can get down with this. This is way better than Country Fried Friday.
No, so go there. Don't go there. Although I do like the song. How could you not like the song?
Well, speaking of I don't know, Country Fried, I think our friend of the program texted me and thinks your brain has been country fried. I will say this, it's a male, and he's accusing you of being on drugs with your crystal ball column. And he wants some because that's the only way he would believe what you're saying here. I can't get down with it.
I'm trying to find the exact line. What is it? You'll know a true genius in this world when all the dunces are in confederacy against him. I believe that's the title of a New Orleans classic. True geniuses are always doubted.
Speaking of a true genius, Tom Condon is a true genius. Josh Katzenstein just put it on Twitter. I guess Drew Brees is speaking with the media after practice, and Drew Brees texted Tom Condon, wow, quote unquote, after seeing the Matthew Stafford deal. As I've said already on the show, Tom Condon represents Matt Stafford. Tom Condon represents Drew Brees. Giddy up, Saints fans. Giddy up, Tom Benson. Drew's getting paid again after this year.
Mickey Loomis, prepare for a long stand. That's going to be not an easy negotiation.
No.
Assuming Brees has a big year, and I think we all agree he will. He and Mike Thomas look like they are poised, man. They look in sync.
That's why they're going to beat the Patriots in week 2 and then lose 2 more games, and they're 1-3 coming into a bye week after London. There have been coaches who have started poorly and not been invited on the plane back from London. Fired.
I love how people love to go predict game by game, and they think it's insane to think the Saints could beat the Patriots and lose to another team. It's the NFL, people. Week to week, it changes. Everybody's pretty darn good, and everybody's very competitive. The Saints last year beat the Seahawks, and then like a week or two later got trucked by the Lions at home, and no one predicted that. It happens. How many years do you have to cover the league or watch the league to understand that?
I've covered the Saints a lot of years, and I understand when they go 1-3, it's over.
Normally they do, but this team's going to be different. This team reminds me of the 2006 team, not the 2009 juggernaut. That was a juggernaut, speaking of juggernauts. The 2006 team was kind of a gritty, tough, not that talented, but as Sean Payton likes to say of that team, you'd take them in a street fight. And I think this team's got a little street fight in them. I like the makeup. And they got a magician now, so maybe he can make
They're going to end
happen.
up playing the video game Street Fighter in January because they'll be home for the playoffs if they start 1-3. It's just not going to happen.
We'll see. Let it play out. Let it play out before your eyes. They might be better than 1-3. They might start 2-2.
That's the only way I can get on board. I would get on board with your crystal ball column on NOLA.com if you had them going 2-2. I would get on board. I'm not on board if they go 1-3.
I think they can go 2-2, but it's a tough opening stretch.
absolutely.
You know, teams still have hope early. That's the key. I think Carolina's, I'm not as high on them as a lot of people are. I think they're going to have another rough year. It's just my opinion. But early on, you're playing them at home, and they still believe. That's a tough time to play them as opposed to later in the year when things have fallen apart and you can walk over them. It's always about when you play teams.
Well, would the Saints believe if they got trucked by New England?
Yes. Yes, I think New England could easily win that game. But the best example I can give you of when you play a team, hope early. When was it? A year or two ago, the Saints went to Cleveland and lost early. It was their home opener and lost. Cleveland had a terrible season that year. If you played them later in the year, that would have been a win. But you played them early. It's a home opener.
Cleveland went like 7-9 that year.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. That's their breakout year.
That's incredible in Cleveland.
My point is,
that's Johnny Manziel.
When you play it, it's when you play it.
Brian Hoyer.
It's always tougher early when you go on the road.
Well, the Saints beat Seattle in a game where I thought they were coming off that tough. It was a tough game.
Yeah, they played at Arizona.
Yes, and it went to overtime, and it was like a 9-6 game
yeah,
or something.
It was a slugfest. In the division, they played it on the road, and then they had to come all the way here. It's exactly my point. You have to look at the schedule that way and who's coming off a big emotional win. If they have a Monday night game before, and it's a big game for them in the division, and all of a sudden they got to go to New Orleans or play the Saints, those things factor in.
What gives you hope? Not hope. What gives you confidence that if they start 1-3, they can rebound?
I just told you I think they have a strong locker room. I like the makeup of this team mentally. I think they got a lot of guys that are mentally tough, and I think they've got a sense of urgency to them. You know, they want to win this year. I know that sounds idealistic and naive a little bit, but they've got to win. They're 7-9 3 years in a row. There's a sense of urgency to what they're doing out on Airline Drive. I like the makeup. I think they've got good leadership, and I think they'll overcome it. And I don't think, look, if they go out and start 1-3 and get trucked in these games, that's different. But if they're competitive, I think they'll stay in it.
If they start 1-3, it's over. I'm just telling you.
All right, we'll see.
Over. O-V-E-R.
That schedule, Larry,
O-V-A. Over.
Look at the schedule. There's a lot of games they're going to be able to win just by rolling the ball out in the second half. And they're going to get some momentum. And once you get momentum, things turn around. I'm telling you, people start believing. It's different.
They need early momentum.
They've started 1-3 in past years when they were playing not as tough a schedule. So I think it's going to be different this year. Harder to recover.
You think Tom Benson's
years.
not going to have panic if they start 1-3 again, and people are going to be walking around that building fearing for their jobs? Do you really think that it's going to be cool, calm, and collected?
That's a factor, but that's where Sean Payton has to step in and be the buffer.
Sean Payton might be the guy who's really walking on eggshells because he knows it's trouble.
It depends on if they start 1-3, it depends on how the 1-3 is played out.
As I think
It's a difference between 1 and 3.
As everyone has heard, Jeff is not going to convince me using his Dionne Warwick type crystal ball methods. So sorry, Jeff. I'm not buying it.
True geniuses in this world can be identified by the dunces that are lined up in Confederacy against him. I'm going to keep repeating
I'll
that.
be the first dunce in your book. So I want to thank Danny Kelly of The Ringer. Want to thank Chris Dave of NOLA.com. Want to thank Jay Drew of the Salt Lake Tribune.